Marketing isn't just about getting the information out there. It's also instilling buyer confidence in your potential clients. Let's go through the 5 quick ways that you can do this that are effortlessly and will get your clients in your door. Okay, so you've drafted your website, you've drafted your promotional materials, you put all this information out there. But what are some other ways that you can instill some buyer confidence in your potential clients in order to make it even easier for them to sign on that line for writing you the check, and maybe add a couple extra zeros to it at the same time? The first thing is to think about your appearance, online and offline. Online, we want to be consistent across all the platforms that we provide with the branding identity that reaches to the customer avatar that we've identified for our business in our marketing plan. Offline, we also want to make sure that our physical presentation is in the exact same fashion. You don't want them to see this nice, clean, polished, professional look online, only for you to show up at the session and not even look anything like physically in the presentation of yourself like what you've done online. It makes it as a really disjointed, inconsistent relationship with the client. My example for this is you could have great communications, you could have a great streamlined website, awesome branding and everything, but then you show up at the session and you're dressed like a bum or you just rolled out of bed. Some people may argue that appearance is not that much of an impact, but I caution you guys on thinking and falling into this fallacy because it does impact the buyer confidence and psychology, especially if they're paying a high price dollar ticket in order for your products and services. It's not enough that they're just going to receive that and that that's worth it. It's how you provide it and present yourself as well. So the first thing was to ensure that we have a professional appearance online and offline. The next thing to increase buyer confidence is to not make them have to ask questions of what the next step in the process is. You should always be telling them up front what is going to happen next. Even if you've provided the game plan at the very beginning of all the steps, take each step in communication you have with the client to hold their hand. So after they pay the non-refundable retainer inside the contract, hold their hand at the end of the communication and tell them, okay, this is what we're going to be doing next. Let's go ahead and set up the consultation. At the end of the consultation, we'll talk. You should lead them into what's going to happen next, if it's the session, and so on and so forth. That way they feel a lot more comfortable and it doesn't cost you anything to communicate this information that you already know about. Remember, your clients don't engage in photography sessions every single day. You do. You're the professional, and it's important that you're the one that guides them through and helps to build the buyer confidence. The third tip is representing yourself like a professional business. If you're engaged in business, you should be acting like it. Set up with an official business formation, paying taxes, using contracts, and having insurance. Your clients may not know the half of this, but having it there and by having the contract in front of them demonstrates your professional value. They put some more confidence into a professional business than they are going to be by a hobbyist or an individual that's not following the laws. So consider, if you say you can't afford to form your business, well, I say you can't afford not to. There's too much liability out there, plus the lack of buyer confidence that someone will have in you by not being informed or using contracts and having all this in place isn't worth it. The fourth tip is to be as responsive as possible. I'm not saying to sit on email and social media all day. In fact, quite the opposite. But make sure you have office hours that you're sticking to and that you're actually providing a responsive and complete answer to your inquiries and your clients. You don't want to be all responsive to get them in the door and then halfway through the process completely fall off. You need to create a plan so that your communication with clients is one of the main things that you work on each day. And lastly, probably one of the most important things to instill buyer confidence is to show your gratitude and say thank you. But the session's already done at that point. Doesn't matter. You should say thank you at every turn and show appreciation to your clients. Plus, it's going to further your marketing through word of mouth by simply just saying thank you. The communication of that is very professional. In fact, you see it all the time, whether it's an automated email, which isn't as personalized when we're working on a personal portrait relationship, or a handcrafted letter that you send out. It could be on a card, it could be in the format of a gift. Whatever it is, you need to make sure that you say thank you to your clients. Helps to instill the buyer confidence and reinforce that the investment they just made in you was well worth it. All right, guys, so that's 5 of the tips that I really strongly recommend that you use for instilling buyer confidence. It's going to make your marketing easier, more effective, and you more successful.